Good evening, everyone. Shanti, and welcome to this Thursday night's beautiful session. I know it's going to be a winner because I happen to know the sister who has come to join us this evening very, very well. And I can promise you that you will definitely leave here with much more than you came in with. And we're going to discuss tonight in this month of love. And by the way, happy belated Valentine's Day to everyone here. My husband calls it a Hallmark holiday that was invented so everyone could sell chocolates and buy flowers and buy Hallmark cards. But I refuse to accept that. I will take any holiday that has at its core and at its heart love. So here we are the day after, and I hope you had a beautiful day yesterday, and I hope you have a beautiful evening tonight as we discuss something that I never thought about the definition of compassion, and the topic tonight is love and compassion, because it's something that even a child understands. You know, someone tells you a story that's very sad. And of course, we're human. We share our humanity, and we will have compassion for the person who lost their dog or the person who has a terrible illness. And so we know the word compassion. And I want to just warn everybody that when I looked it up, you know, Google can be a dangerous thing. And I looked up compassion in the dictionary, and it said having sympathetic pity. And I like the part that says concerned for the suffering of others, feeling motivated to relieve the suffering of others. And then it said to suffer together. And that's something I'm quoting, a dictionary definition as Googled by me personally. And I'm very, very interested in knowing what Sister Sandhya has to say about a piece of that definition, because I know that sometimes we feel as though we should be compassionate and we say the right things, but are we truly compassionate in the spiritual sense of the word? For example, if someone loses their job, and they're a good friend, and they call you on the phone and they say, "Oh, I lost my job." And you will go, "Oh, that's terrible." But when you hang up that phone, is there a little tiny piece of whatever it is in you and your history with that beloved person that's kind of happy? Isn't that awful to say? Mm-hmm. You know, the beautiful thing about being soul to soul on this show, on this program, is that we know we share a lot in common. And we also know we have to laugh at ourselves sometimes. So tonight, I promise you that, I'm even thinking of, you know, how we have genuine compassion, and then we get on the phone with 10 people and we repeat the same horrible story, and with the person we had so much compassion for, and we feel like parrots, repeating the same story over and over again, and we lose the feeling. And, you know, our wonderful Dadi Janki, who just passed away a few years ago, she was more than 100 years old. And I remember reading something where she said that there is a spiritual connection, but in order to have true compassion, I have to forget myself. And the mind can think compassion, but there has to be heart in it. So I'm sure that we're going to hear a lot about that tonight. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm starting the evening with a word that's looking for a definition, and I'm sure we're all going to find it through our beautiful sister Sandhya. Let me just tell you briefly that she has been practicing, teaching Raj Yoga meditation for over 30 years. I know her very well because her home is Harmony House. We just spent a beautiful morning together, not only planning this session, but enjoying each other's company. And she happens to be an IT professional, and she so enjoys, I know she personally enjoys bringing spirituality into everything she does, especially creating sessions such as this one tonight. So without further ado, I bring you our beloved Sister Sandhya, straight from Harmony House. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Louise. That was a beautiful intro to the session. And I love that you researched what compassion means. I remember when I was very young, I was brought up in the East, in India. And we had a lot of spiritual books and stories. And my source of all spirituality at that time came from my grandparents. They would tell us stories, and that's how I learned everything. So when I was a teenage, when I entered my teens, I guess we all go through this phase, right? I decided I wanted to know what the philosophy of the West was. I don't want to just know the East. So I started reading books of various philosophers. And I remember one thing very clearly, which is I wanted to know the definition of love. I don't know if any one of you have done something like that, read about what everyone says about love, especially the philosophers. But at the end of it, I had no idea what they were talking about. And it was pages and pages of this definition. Problem with my connection.
You're going in and out a little bit, Sister Sandhya. And we're spotlighting me instead of you. Narayan, are you with us? Okay. Sister Sandhya, could you speak so I can see if we can hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just got disconnected for I don't know what reason. But how is it? Are you able to hear?
Yes, perfectly.
Able to see? I am no longer, I am co-host. So let me see. What do you want to do, Louise?
Well, I'd like to spotlight you since you're going to be speaking for a half hour or so. There you go. Okay. We're good now, I think.
Right.
I've seen enough of me for today. I want to look at you.
Where did you lose me?
Didn't lose very much at all. It just was a little bit in and out. You were talking about love.
So I was researching love and I was very confused. So one of my intentions in the session today is that when you're done, you should not be confused, if not anything else. But if you'd like to interact, I'm going to open up chat. And I have a question, maybe something that we can all kind of explore. What are your thoughts about love? Before we go to compassion, let's talk about love, because the whole month has been about love, right? The Valentine's Day, and then Shivratri is coming up. It's all about love. So if anyone wants to share, what do we know about love? Are you all having a problem, or is it just me? I cannot hear you, Louise. You're muted.
Did mute myself. You can hear me now. That was my fault. But you were gone for a few seconds, and now you're back.
I am sorry. I think there's something with this connection. I'm not really sure if it happened.
Mostly we're able to piece it together.
Okay. So I was saying, if you want to talk about, if you want to share what you think about love or what you know about love, I'm going to have the chat window open, and you can.
We heard that.
Okay. Do you see anything that I don't see here?
I see you and lovely orchids. And
okay. There is a song in Hindi. It's called "Tu Pyar Ka Sagar Hai, Teri Ek Boond Ke Pyase Hum." This is a devotional song on the path of bhakti, where they say that all of us souls are thirsty for a drop of love. So there is one thing that we all know, that everyone in the world is looking for love and needs love. For a moment, if you were to think what life would be if there is no love, you have everything else, but there is just no love. How would you describe that experience? The life would be pretty tasteless, right? There wouldn't be anything of substance in there, of beauty in there. So love is considered to be very, very elevated in all traditions. And that's why sometimes they even say, God is love. It gives life. It gives life to anything. Try taking care of a plant with love. You see what comes of that. Try taking care of a child with love. You see what comes out of that. So this energy of love gives life. So those of you from the Indian background, Sanjeevani Bhuti. It heals everything. It heals all ailments. It makes everything easy. And it has the power to transform like no other quality does. That is why the energy of love is very, very important for all of us. But for a moment, if we think about the world right now, I want you to reflect and see, is there anyone you know in the world who's free from sorrow? Anyone of all the people you know or you've heard of? Anyone?
No.
Yes? No? No one is on video, so I can't see, and you're not putting anything on chat. So I'm thinking you're with me there. But you will see that of all of us, 8 billion of us, there's not a single one of us that's completely free of sorrow. It's a very interesting thing. Where does sorrow come from? Mostly sorrow comes from a lack of love. It comes from relationships, right? Or a lack of them, or a lack of love in those relationships. So the whole world, even on Valentine's Day, what are we looking for? When we want someone to give us roses, someone to give us chocolates, you're not really looking for chocolates. You're looking for love. Someone who would say, I love you unconditionally, right? Doesn't matter how I am. I may not be perfect, but that you love me. Am I right? Now, this is where I see a chat here. Okay, good. Very nice, Sherry. Thank you. Mostly when we talk about love, our focus is on the outside. We think somehow someone is going to give us love, and then everything is going to be all right. Am I right? Many times when people are looking for relationships, that's what they're looking for. That somehow this will heal everything else that has gone wrong in my life. But on the path of spirituality, which is our take always from the Brahma Kumaris, right? That's where our whole work is. On the path of spirituality, we never look outside. The first thing you have to look at is my relationship with myself. I can understand if someone else doesn't like me, doesn't love me. There may be enough reasons. But the reason I don't love myself, sometimes we cannot even explain that. Why don't I accept myself? Why don't I love myself completely? We can't even explain that. And although we think it is the love from someone else that we are actually missing, what we are missing is this relationship with myself. We all have beautiful memories of love. If not anything, there must be at least one moment when we have felt this love in our life, even if it's from a human being, right? But we let go of that and we hold on to everything else that has not worked out for us. And then we say, oh, no one loves me. If someone says, oh, you're not good enough, that's something we hold for life. And when someone says, oh, this was great, you were so good, thank you. And then we move away and we don't even remember that anymore. That's because of a lack of my relationship of love with myself. It has nothing to do with anyone in the world. And this dysfunctional relationship of myself with me is what causes this restlessness within us. And so it doesn't matter how much love you receive from the outside, it does not suffice because it cannot fill the emptiness of my not loving myself. So this is the relationship we need to first fix. And I'm talking about this because this whole month we've been exploring love in various ways. Love is at the core of all the virtues. When my mind is restless, I'm constantly looking for people to give me different things. It comes up at desires. That's where we want more chocolates. The lesser the love we feel, the more the chocolates, the more the flowers. And that's how all the businesses run. So we need to get a sense of ourselves. We need to fix this. And when we fix this, you will see that life will change. It has nothing to do with anyone. Again, I'm saying that because it's just me with myself. So how do I fix this? What happens if I fix this? Energy will start to flow. My mind will become restful. Don't have to wander. It's okay to not have chocolates. It's okay not to have flowers. It's okay if no one says I love you. Because I know my worth. I know myself. And this knowing enables me to face anything that comes in life. Now that's for myself. Now let's look at the other aspect of it. When I lack love, I'm constantly looking for someone to give me. On the other side, when I can fill my heart with love, I am very accepting of others. I can allow them to be themselves. They don't have to be the way I want them to be. It's okay. I can be calm. Nothing someone else does or something that happens disturbs me. I can be respectful. I can be caring. And coming to today's topic, right? I can be understanding and compassionate with others. It comes from this quality of love. So in the Brahma Kumaris, we first work on this. To work with this, we teach what is called meditation, right? What does meditation do? You go anywhere else, when we talk about meditation, they tell you methods. You have to sit like this, you have to do like this, you have to think like this. If you ask me, what is meditation? Or maybe you can ask any of the others, my brothers and sisters too. It's about falling in love with the source of love. It's about being in relationship with the ocean of love. And why do we need it? Because when we look at the world, there isn't a source of love. Everyone They can be loving at sometimes. At sometimes they don't have it in them. We all go through this fluctuation. Everything in nature right now is in the state of flux. One moment is good, one isn't. So when you connect to that, you get the same things. You're okay one moment, you're not okay the other moment. But when you connect to the source, he is always the ocean of love. So anytime I download from there, all I get is love. Then I start to become full. I start to experience fullness. And this is where the foundation is. The foundation, although is love, it may manifest in different ways in different relationships at different times, but the foundation is love in the heart. So in this whole month, this is what we have been exploring. Love that is expressed as respect. Love that is expressed as support or manifests as support. Today we are going to explore love that manifests as compassion. But the foundation is this fullness of love in the heart. Next week you will do, I think, love and hope, right? How that manifests as hope. But all of these come from the root of love. And let's see how it happens, right? Let me give you a few examples from my own life. Many of you know this. When I was in my undergrad second year, I came across a teacher who taught chemistry. Until then, I don't think I had a hang of chemistry at all. I did it because I had to do it. I had to finish the credits, but I never understood. And there is an aspect of chemistry called organic chemistry, if any one of you are in that field. It's very difficult to understand. And this teacher came in one session, just the way she opened up that subject, I fell in love with organic chemistry. And I've never forgotten what she taught. So every time, not just when I look at her, but when I think of her, there is this feeling of regard and respect that just comes within me. And she wasn't the best looking. She looked very different from everyone else. But the day she finished that class, to me, she looked like the most beautiful person in the world. This is love manifesting as respect. It happens when you come across someone who is very learned and they've done something or taught us something that transforms our life. You see the connection? Then there is support. When I had completed my bachelor's degree, I didn't want to do masters. I had found Baba. I had my own plan for life. I didn't know that I wanted to do masters. But my mom wanted me to do my masters. And she wanted me to do my masters, and I chose mathematics. And I still cannot forget it. She didn't know mathematics. She's not done MS or anything in her life. But every day when I sat down to study, she'd be there beside me. If it is hot, she will switch on the cooler and she'll say, "It's okay, you can study. I will take care of everything in the house. You don't need to do anything, you just study." And looking at her, just that support that she was offering, I just decided, you know what, I have to finish my master's, if not anything, just for her. And that's how I completed my master's. That is support. Her love for me is her offer of that support so I can complete my master's. You understand? So this is how love manifests in different ways, in different relationships at different times. In the same way, now when does love manifest as compassion? When you see someone suffering or they're hurt, they are in pain, but they don't know what to do, and they don't even know that they need help. At that time, you can't offer support. You can offer support to someone who feels they need help. But when they don't even know they need help, we offer compassion. And we'll go into a lot of detail of that, but I just want to give you a few more examples of how this works. Sometimes love shows up as patience. You can wait. Doesn't matter how long it is. You will wait, right? If your child has not come back from school and you go to the store, will you say, oh, it's 3:30, she didn't come, I'm going to go home? No. 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, it doesn't matter, right? You would wait or you would go find out what is happening. So it's just an example. Sometimes it shows up as tolerance. So love, the energy of love is in the heart. And in the mind, it is one of these virtues. It's either respect or support or compassion or patience, any of these qualities. So we will talk about compassion today. Like Louise was saying, right? She looked up the definition. What does it say? It's the ability to understand another.
No, it said, am I, okay. Concern for the suffering, sympathetic pity and concern for the suffering of others. And to feel motivated to relieve that suffering. That's the best of the definitions to me.
No. And to suffer together, right? No. We will talk about compassion today and how compassion helps and what is the right way. Because sometimes compassion can be painful. Am I right? Because you feel the pain of the other. Now you don't know how to alleviate their pain. And on top of that, now I am also in pain. I do not know how to alleviate my pain even. So definitely compassion is the ability to understand what the other is going through, even if I have not experienced the same. It may not be my experience, but I can feel, I can understand. And it's definitely a desire to alleviate their pain. So love and compassion go hand in hand. We just talked about it, right? Love, kindness, that's in the heart. And in the mind, it's compassion. Who needs compassion? Who needs compassion? Different people can understand in different ways. We'll go into a little detail here. Let's say I do something and children have this. They emulate by looking at someone and what they do. They just learn quickly, right? There is no need to even tell them what to do. If you are doing it, they do exactly the same thing. Have you all seen this? So even if people use certain words in front of children, they are very careful because they will say exactly what you say. They will do exactly what you do, whether they know it or not. The second is when we teach or we share or we speak. Based on what we are sharing, another learns, they can understand, they can learn, and they can change. That's the second aspect. Now, the third aspect, which is when someone does not have the power to do as you are doing, just by looking at you, someone who doesn't have the ability to understand through words, but they need help. They don't know how to ask for it. So you cannot tell in words what they're supposed to do. You have to do this, this, and this. It doesn't work. At that time, what we need is the subtle power that we call compassion. That means you don't, it's not your action, it's not your words, but through your mind, you're giving them the power so they can rise. And many times in Brahma Kumaris, we call that Sakash. When it comes at a very high level, it's called Sakash. That means there is this gentle, subtle power passed to them. Because once they have that, they have the ability to open up, listen, or look and change. This is where compassion is needed, where words don't work, nothing will work. But what is not compassion? We have to also know that, right? Sometimes when we look at someone and we say, oh, I really feel sorry for this person. I really, really feel mercy for this person. We keep saying this. We don't do anything. That is not compassion. Just to say the words, I feel sorry, I feel mercy, is not compassion. It should be followed by an action. Sometimes it's physical, but most of the times, along with the physical action, there is this action from the mind where you actually empower them. That is the power of compassion. There is another aspect that is not compassion that I want to kind of clarify here too, which is when someone is sharing their problem with you, and Louis talked about this, right? When someone is sharing their problem with you and you say, oh, I understand, they're always like that. They always say such things or they do such things. That is not compassion. That is gossip. Agreeing with someone who is sharing a problem and saying, yeah, I know it is always like that. The system is like that. Nothing will change. That is not compassion. That is wrong. Compassion is when someone shares their problem. Don't make it bigger by saying, yeah, the world is like that. Make it smaller. Make it easier, manageable, so they can actually handle it. That will empower the person to cross the hurdle. That's compassion. Not agreeing. So sometimes we have this wrong notion of compassion. So I just want to make sure we're clarifying that. Now, another aspect of compassion, which is what is the method? The method for compassion is it has to come from inside out. I have filled my heart with love. And I have to give from this to whoever needs. But I cannot take. I cannot take their pain inside myself. Now, when I say I cannot take, I'm saying to take it is not compassion, because once you take that pain inside of you, you need help. Am I right? Because you need to handle yourself. I remember a time when I was about, I think 21, 22 years old. I just started working. And I would take a bus to go to my school where I was working. And one day on the road, as my bus was passing by, there was this lady and her little child. The lady had just fallen on the road, and the child was calling out to everyone, saying, please help, please help. I was so disturbed by that sight. It shook me inside out. I'm like, how can it be like this? How can human beings be in such a position that they are on the road, fallen, and there isn't a person to take care of them? When I went back to the center, this is the first thing the sister taught me. She said, if you want to help, the first thing is you cannot take sorrow. You should stop crying first. You have to see what I can do to help. what would be the right way spiritually and physically. But you cannot take pain from that. Because when we take pain from them, there is a connection of sorrow that we create. So for one of the things that we are taught in the Brahma Kumaris is don't give sorrow, don't take sorrow. So the method is always to take from God and give. Take from God and give. This is the method because it empowers you and it empowers them. Otherwise, both of us are disempowered. And then there is another aspect of compassion, which we call the subtle support of compassion. Now here, there is no need of doing anything. It's sometimes about not doing anything. Let us say you know that someone has done something wrong and you're aware of it. The person who has done wrong is also aware of it. Right? Now, when the person is already aware of it, there is no need for me to say it, right? Am I right? There's no need for me to say it. They already know. And I know. At that time, instead of saying anything, you just say, it's okay. It's okay. Let's move on. And in your heart, you have to understand that it's not their fault. It's no one's fault. If it has happened, it has happened. So this feeling of compassion is the feeling that it's not that person's mistake, that they've done something wrong. It's giving them the power to move forward from there. It's about letting go of what has happened, not holding it in that moment, not holding it in the future, allowing it to move away and we move forward. We call this the subtle support of compassion. Many times we feel the need to state and show that you did this wrong. This is not the way it's supposed to be. That is not compassion. It's about letting go and helping the person move forward with the least guilt, with the least blame that they can feel. Because guilt and blame are very heavy. They want to allow them to move forward. And what can I do? I have to find a method that I can help that person. They need to change. And sometimes people make mistakes because they don't have the power to change. So compassion is allowing that power to flow so they can make a change. And on my face, in my behavior, there shouldn't be a change. That shows, yeah, I know you did that. No, it should be clean because I have let go. That is the kind of compassion that we experience from God. It's called God's grace. God's grace is God's compassion. And the way God expresses it, He doesn't show you, oh, look how you were or how you are. No. When God looks at us, it's always my child, my beloved child, right? So this kind of compassion comes across and gives the feeling of God's grace to the other person. Now, as we do this, it's very important to remember, as I am doing this, I can't expect that just because I did all this, they have to change. To expect someone or something to change because I have been graceful, I have been compassionate, is not compassion. It may not change. They may not be ready. They may not be there. but I must cultivate the power to continue to serve selflessly, not looking at results. When we do this, a day will come, and this is how subtle service happens. A day will come when that person will remember you, that you offered this to them. And when they remember that, it will give them power, because that is the time they are ready to change, not at the moment when we are sharing it. You understand the difference? So here, love and compassion should be expressed as patience. It's okay. One day it will happen. It may not happen the moment I want it, but it will happen. That is compassion. The last aspect of compassion, like I said before, we call it sakash. And our founder, Father Brahma Baba, he was the first one who ever gave this experience of sakash, who had this experience of sakash, or how it should be done. This is, at any time anyone came to Brahma Baba with any complaint, any problem, any issue, this is how he automatically worked. Automatically, his mind went to give them power so they can move forward from there. That issue can be resolved and they can go on and do something. Because deep in his heart, there was this love, and he wanted everyone to move forward. So anything he heard, he never said, yeah, no, the world is always like that. This person is never. He always said, let me give them the power. I have accumulated power. Let me give them this power to change. We call that sakash. So if you look at compassion, mercy, grace, God's grace, blessings, and sakash, these are different ways in which compassion can be expressed at various levels. Sometimes through actions, very few times through words, but mostly through the mind. So the heart is full of love. Automatically, the mind is full of compassion. And you don't look to see, is this person worthy of my compassion? Everyone is worthy. I just have to make sure I have enough energy of love to be able to manifest compassion for that moment to that person. I'm going to kind of stop here because it is 7:44 and Louise took time till 7:45.
I would still like to invite people to comment in the chat, or can they unmute, Brother Narayan? Are we able to do that? Is there anyone, if you'd like to raise your virtual hand, we would love to hear your voices. And thank you to everyone who is showing a beautiful face this evening, to Sister Sandhya. Sister Sandhya, that was so beautiful. And as you were speaking, I'm thinking, how? You know, you're talking about giving power without words. How? And sure enough, you did not disappoint, and you came up with all these wonderful methods. I'm reminded, let me know if you see a hand up. I'm reminded of an elderly couple that I am pretty close with, and they never got along. 50 years of marriage, they never got along. And she loves what I'm involved with. She takes direction. I model for her what I can. And she couldn't even stand the thought of just hugging him or kissing him on top of the head. 2 years later, and even the daughters, the adult daughters, he was just annoying, a curmudgeon, no social skills. I thought maybe he had a little Asperger's from the description. Well, I have to tell you that he has become the affectionate, loving, funny, lighter husband. How did this happen? She realized her own inner power to change the atmosphere in her own home. And instead, here's the point that you made, instead of words, enough with the word, oh, I'm sorry I said that, blah, 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 all these words. I taught her the power of silence. And I'm saying of course, I mean the Brahmins taught me first. And all of a sudden, it startled him, and he was able to receive a look in the eye. We call it drishti here. He was able to respond to her silence because she was nagging him all the time. She was looking at what she did, and the metamorphosis in this relationship is unbelievable.
That's beautiful.
So it's just a beautiful little piece of my last few years to know them and to watch this change. It's just beautiful. Yeah.
Thank
Anybody else have a story or a comment for Sister Sandhya?
Are you able to unmute? Are you able to unmute? Can one of you try, please? Michelle, Jane, anyone?
You can't.
You can.
Oh.
Brother Narayan, are you able to change that?
Oh. I see Siobhan wrote, thank you for channeling Baba's love tonight. I especially appreciated the aspect of mercy, not absorbing or giving sorrow, brackets attachments, rather to absorb and give Baba's love instead. Thank you, Siobhan. Okay, we do have a few minutes if anyone else would like to.
Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to see if I can do it.
Okay.
I just want them to be able to share if they can.
Yeah. I don't have it here.
Okay, global harmony.
Okay. Guess we can.
Sorry, really sorry. Bad. So do you want to read what Shaban has said here?
Yeah, I just did, actually. You want me to read it again?
No, I read it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I am unable to unmute you.
Mhm.
I would have loved to hear from you. But if you want to put it in chat, feel free to do that.
I think I can unmute.
There are other ways to communicate, right?
I heard a voice.
Are
Is
you
that
able
Sherry?
to hear me? It's Siobhan.
Siobhan. Hi, Siobhan.
Hi. Thank you so much. I felt the love coming through you. And, I feel like it's such a gift that we're given that in times of sorrow, or that we're able to maintain that fullness because we are linked to God, and able to return, someone's sorrow for an aspect of love. And it's not always an easy thing to do, because I think that sometimes in this world with humans, especially when it's around death, that there's such a strong attachment, and so to return with, more of a perspective of God's love through, soul consciousness is just, it's different than the ordinary. So that's one aspect that I keyed into tonight. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Siobhan.
Take the power from God first. then do something. Say something if you have to, but do it. Beautiful.
You're able to unmute yourselves now?
Yes, we are.
Good. Excellent.
Good.
I'd just like to say that during these times when so many people are dying and so many violent things are happening, I continue to live the life of thinking that I accept to a degree what I see, but I do not intake what I see. In other words, if I can't do something about the situation presently, then I needed to let it go away. If I can, it should be from the power of my mind, just thinking or sending positive energy. Like I see so many people that have died recently, and from my perspective, all I could do is take into my mind the thought that their spirits and their reason of not being with us anymore is beyond me. So I just send love to wherever they're going or whatever is happening, that it may just be successful to giving them peace and love.
Thank you for sharing. Luis, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just going to thank Herman very much. And
You're very welcome.
yes, and if you want to know more about where they're going, take the course. We know secrets.
Yeah, we did. We did. I have an idea, but maybe someone was.
Anyone else like to share before we have a little meditation? I'm going to ask you, Sister Sandhya, to lead us out. Jane, is your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted
Hi.
to say how thank you, Shanti, to all of you. It was so beautiful, so very powerful. Thank you for the gifts that you shared tonight, Sister Sandhya and Louise, Sister Louise, and Shoban, everyone. So many opportunities that come through this insight session, but such a gift tonight to really understand what true compassion is and how it manifests itself. And I'll just say, because it's already very late into the hour, I had a very special moment at the beginning of COVID, and I shared it at one time in a class, that there was a young man who was outside who looked very disheveled. You could see he was homeless. He had nowhere to go at that moment. I had gone outside with our dog, and when I came back in, the face stayed with me, and all I did was, again, took the power from source, and I just sent him continuous sakash, what we call through the mind. And then I did that day after day after day. And one day I saw that same person across the street, different dress, different, and I knew that it was inspired. God at that moment, that source, that supreme source, wanted me to be in that moment, to see that soul. On many different levels, it resonated. But the gift is that we all, as Sister Sandhya said, that compassion, it really does comes from that supreme source through us. And that says more than anything else in the world. It is so very powerful, so very beautiful. Had opportunities with own family members to do that. It works in ways that we just don't know until we really experience it. So thank you, Sister Sandhya, for giving us this opportunity tonight to experience this. It was really a gift again. And Louise, and I thank you so much. It's such a beautiful session. These insight sessions, they say so much to so many. So thank you. Om Shanti to all. Beautiful.
Yes, thank you, Jane. Such a beautiful hour. Thank you so much. It is getting late. I just want to say, though, that by contributing this evening and with your own stories and the personalization, it proves what we have in common, that we really are souls. And your contribution after what Sister Sandhya has taught us tonight, it rekindled the enlightened us. And it makes us share our stories with each other, which just keeps us up on this. I don't want to open that door and go out and face the world now. I just want to sit here for about half an hour and meditate after I say goodbye to you. Right? Don't you? Okay. So, Sister Sandhya, would you please take us out in a few minutes? And then I have a few short announcements afterwards. So stick around, everybody. Thank you.
I wanted to ask, do you want to do the announcements and then we're going to meditation?
Sure, very quickly, okay? Narayan, I don't know if you have flyers to show everyone, but next Thursday we have Sister Tina, who is also a Harmony House person. There it is. There she is. You may know her. She's been here before, and she will be talking about love and hope. And then Sunday, February 29th, if you're free in the afternoon, 3:30 to 5, either in person, we're doing that again, and we will have more in-person meetings. By popular demand, people are asking that we come back. The people who are most instrumental in making that happen, or some of them are now not with us, they're in India, but I'm promised that maybe March, definitely April, we will be together again, which I loved emceeing. I know Michelle did also. Anyway, the great light of the great night. It's the holiday we celebrate Shiv Baba, Sunday, February 26th. So we hope you can join us in person if you can. It'll be wonderful. And the meditation for world peace is this coming Sunday, 6:15 to 7. And that's all I've got. Sister Sandhya, would you be kind enough to take us out? Thank you so much.
Take a moment. I allow my mind to settle into silence. I put aside any unwanted thoughts. And I focus on the heart of my being. In my heart, I know myself as a loving being, kind, gentle, and compassionate. The love in my heart is always there. I am a being of love. So I let go of this feeling that I have to draw love from the world around me into my heart. I am a being of love. And I gently hold this love. And in my mind, I create thoughts of compassion. Compassion that can be expressed in action, in words, but mostly in silence. Knowing that I can be there for another. I can empower. I can support. I can be patient. I allow the other to move forward gently without the pain or the burden of guilt. Or the burden of sorrow. As I stay in this state of love, I feel the connection with God, who is the ocean of love. And this connection allows me to feel power. In every direction. Love, the seed of all virtues. Love, the energy of life. I allow it to flow freely. Healing everyone and everything. Sakash, the power of God's love filling into every soul that needs a drop to help them move forward. I hold this love in me, and I know when I come back into the world of words and actions, I can still keep this energy flowing as it comes through the mouth as gentle words, gentle movements that give space and support one and all around me. Om Shanti. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Om Shanti.
Om
If you
Shanti.
can, those of you who can, I'm requesting that you turn on your video for 1 second and wave to goodbye to this very intimate group, if you can. We don't want to see you in any
Thank
state
you,
of
Louis.
undress.
Thank you, Sandhya. Everyone.
Thank you.
Gayatri
Good to
Parivar.
see you all.
Hey, beautiful.
Om Shanti.
Thank you so
It's
much.
great.
Beautiful. Thank
What
you.
a beautiful evening of
Shanti.
sharing. Thank you,
Beautiful.
Sister Sophie.
So beautiful.
Om Shanti.
Yeah. Look at everybody.
Shanti.
Whoa. Okay. We got a good group here.
Eh,
And to those of you who couldn't, I might ask you to, Michelle might ask you to do it next week, just at the end. Good night,
Om
everyone.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Very beautiful to see all of you.
Shanti. Thank you.